The day is behind you now, and your body knows it before your mind will admit it. There's a heaviness in the shoulders, a slight ache behind the eyes, a sense that you have been leaning into something all day and have only just now stopped leaning. You spent yourself today. You gave your attention to the hard thing. You pushed past the place where it got dull. You carried the weight you said you would carry. And some part of you believes the carrying was the whole of it, that the work is finished simply because the effort is over. But that is not quite true, and tonight I want to set the truer thing in its place. The effort you spend today is not yet complete. It is only half complete. The other half is the rest that restores you, the quiet hours that turn what you spend into something you can spend again tomorrow. Recovery is not the opposite of work. It is the second half of it. Resting now is not quitting on the day. It is finishing it. We have inherited a strange picture of effort, one that treats rest as the absence of work, a moral pause we are permitted only once the real thing is done. The diligent person, it says, keeps going, and rest is what you give in to when discipline runs out. But anyone who has done demanding work over a long span of time learns, often the hard way, that this is wrong. The body does not grow stronger during the effort. It grows stronger during the recovery from it. The muscle is torn in the work and rebuilt in the rest. Without the second half, the first half does not hold. The investor and writer Naval Ravikant keeps arriving at something that sounds soft, but is anything but. Peace, he suggests, is not the reward you collect after happiness. Peace is happiness at rest, the same well-being simply no longer in motion. He is wary of the idea that rest is laziness, that stillness is time stolen from achievement. In his account, rest is a structural part of any system that performs at a high level over time, not a failure of it. You do your best work, he argues, from a restored mind, not a depleted one. The exhausted version of you can grind, but it cannot create, cannot decide well, cannot see clearly. So the rest is not a concession to weakness. It is the maintenance the engine requires, and skipping it does not make you more disciplined. It only makes you slower at the things that matter. The travel writer Pico Iyer made a related discovery and gave it a quiet, almost paradoxical name. In his small book called The Art of Stillness, he argues that going nowhere, sitting still, doing deliberately nothing, has become the single most neglected discipline of an accelerated life. We have grown skilled at acceleration and forgotten the older skill of stopping. And his claim is not that stillness merely feels nice. It is that stillness is where experience is actually digested. The day pours its events into you faster than you can absorb them. And only when you stop moving does the absorbing happen, the slow metabolizing of what the day gave you into something that becomes yours. Without that stillness, you do not keep the day. You only survive it. There's a third voice for this hour, gentler and more shadowed. The poet David Whyte has written about darkness not as a thing to be feared, but as a teacher with something to give. In a poem he called Sweet Darkness, the idea he turns over is that there are things you can only learn in the dark, and that sometimes it takes the dark to show you, at last, that whatever leaves you deadened, whatever does not call you more fully into your own life, has grown too small to keep carrying. I will not put his lines in your ear, only his thought, which belongs to this hour. The night is not the empty space between 2 days of effort. It is its own kind of work, the work of being restored, of remembering what you are actually for. Notice what you do to yourself when you treat rest as a failure of will. You finish the day already depleted, and then you refuse the very thing that would restore you, because resting feels like an admission that you did not do enough. So you stay up, half working, half scrolling, neither resting nor producing, and you wake tomorrow with the spending of today still unpaid, and you call that being driven. But it is not drive. It is a slow refusal to complete your own effort. Turn it the other way around. The most disciplined thing you could do tonight is not to squeeze one more hour out of an exhausted mind. It is to stop fully and without apology and let the restoration happen, so that the self who meets tomorrow's hard thing is whole rather than worn through. The rest is not the reward for the discipline. The rest is the discipline, the quieter half of a demanding life, the half that makes the first half repeatable. So tonight, let the resting be the work. I'll let the effort I spent today be completed by the rest I take tonight. I trust that recovery is not the opposite of discipline, but the other half of it. I let go of the belief that stopping is the same as quitting. I give the day the stillness in which it can finally settle into something I keep. I accept that the self who meets tomorrow does better restored than depleted. So let the body go heavy now, the way a held breath goes loose when you finally let it out, and let the day complete itself not in more doing, but in this the long quiet repayment of everything you spent, the muscle rebuilding in the dark, the mind sorting and settling what the hours poured into it. The way Pico Iyer said stillness is where experience is finally metabolized, and Naval Ravikant said peace is only happiness come to rest, and let the darkness do its own slow work on you the way. David White trusted it would, teaching in the night what the daylight is too loud to say, that whatever has stopped giving you life can be set down here without grief. And so you can stop straining toward tomorrow, because tomorrow the morning will ask you again to choose the hard thing first. The way Musonius Rufus trained himself through hardship he chose on purpose. The way David Goggins learned there is a reserve still waiting past the place the mind first quits. The way Angela Duckworth found that grit is the long, patient marriage of passion and perseverance, but that spending belongs to the dawn and this hour does not. This hour asks only that you let yourself be repaid, that you take the half of the work that looks like rest and give it the same devotion you gave a rest, until there's nothing left to finish and nothing left to spend, only the slow, unhurried restoring of a life that was poured out today and is quietly, faithfully being filled again. Begin disciplined and reflective.